Hello, everybody. Welcome to UGASports Live. My name is Radi Nabulsi. I'm joined by Dayne Young and Jim Donnan, the former Georgia Bulldogs head coach, and the number one reason everybody's tuning in with us on a Tuesday at 12:02. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late. It's my fault for holding these guys up. I appreciate all of you joining us, especially if you're on your lunch break from work. I know it's you went into work today knowing that your team are the 2025 SEC champions, back-to-back years. I know a lot of people woke up Sunday morning before they went to church thinking the Bulldogs just beat the brakes off Alabama, beat them 28-7. And coach, what I thought was hilarious was earlier in the week, Kirby Smart had talked to his team about being the 2017 game where Georgia lost to Auburn earlier in the year. Then they played them in the SEC championship and beat them 28-7. He tells his team about that, on Monday or Tuesday, whenever it was, I'm not sure. But then winds up going out. His team goes out on Saturday and beats Alabama 28-7. It's just the symmetry of it was amazing. Let me get your thoughts on this Georgia Alabama game, and we'll talk about what it might mean after that.
So somebody said he said that about to the team or what?
That's what I was told.
Well, they listened, that's for sure. One thing I just want to say here, I read some of these different people that write things about us, and I got a lot of respect for them, but I really felt like Gunnar Stockton played better than a C-plus performance that he got graded on by one of our other sites. So it's hard for me to believe that we don't won that.
Only of 26.
I mean, C-plus is average. I mean, a little above average, and the guy was MVP of the game. Maybe I watched a different game, but I saw a kid busting his balls, running the ball, throwing, making decisions, taking care of the ball. What do you think, Dane? You think he's better than C-plus or what?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Georgia was in control the whole time, and you don't do that without good quarterback performance.
Yeah, well, hey, but I've been wrong before. I hadn't coached many quarterbacks, so I don't know much about it. But I do have a lot of respect for the guy that made that deal, and he's got his own opinion. But I think we had a hard time winning that game with a C-plus deal of a quarterback. But getting back to the game itself, I hope that the fans that follow our site feel like I'm pretty consistent in the way I try to approach everything. And I said before the first Bama game that I was really concerned about the lack of offensive linemen that we had for that game, and for the are we okay? Here, my thing's going kind of off and on. Am I still?
Yeah, no, we're good. I'm just putting some photos on the screen.
All right, so we didn't get many possessions in that game, and their quarterback was on fire the whole time, and he probably had about a B- game against us the first time we played him. So, so I think realistically, from my perspective, then we did the watch along show Saturday, and I told you going into the game that I felt good about our improvement on defense, about our different ability to rush the passer, knowing that we had worked on the snap count and trying to time our blitzes up, and our coverages were better, and also that we would be able to maintain the ball a little bit better on second and third down by instituting some quarterback runs, which we did. I mean, he ended up falling on the ball at the end of the game, but he ran the ball 13 times prior to that.
Yeah.
Got us out of some really tough situations and without getting sacked, and made some first downs that were really critical for us. And then our line just did a great job. Tolliver came in and did a yeoman's performance filling in there for Bobo. And then another just thing people haven't said a lot about was our ex-receiver, Thomas, had back spasms, and he didn't play. So we ended up with Bell and Humphreys playing the majority of the plays when we're in 12 personnel. And then, of course, you can't say enough about the way that Zachariah played. I mean, he only played 30 plays, but he still had a magnificent performance. Defense was tremendous, giving up only 4 first downs until that last drive. Their only drive of the game where they had some miraculous plays and some good calls that they made, but also we helped them with some stupid defensive penalties. That's the only thing about the game. Our lack of discipline a couple of times hurt us, but just total ass whipping. That's the only way to say it. I mean, we won the game physically, mentally, and really got the monkey off your back as far as never having to beat Bama. If you're going to beat them, Reese Davis said this to me a couple of weeks ago. He said, one of these days, Georgia just going to get that situation out of the way and just come out and beat the brains off of them. And they did that. And fortunately for Bama, they get to stay in, and I think they should. I know we've talked about we didn't get to a couple of years ago, but if you play in a championship game, you ought to be able to stay in the mix. So, but from my perspective, this team has turned into a pretender into a real contender now. I think the evolution of our defense, the maturation of our secondary, the infusion of really good young talent like Dinkins and just 1 through 5, Griffin and Glover, freshman All-Americans just picked, the way we're able to rotate our offensive line, the tight ends. It's just, but the last thing, which y'all, both of you know how much I love the kicking game. I mean, I was a punter, and I see the value of it, but we have a guy that will go down in history next to maybe Ray Guy as the best punter I've ever seen in college from a productivity standpoint. When you really need it, old Thunderfoot comes through. And a good example was when the score was still a little bit in balance there, the game was still on the line, 21-7. He punts it back to the 8-yard line, and it goes like a guided missile right out of bounds.
Yeah.
And then we stop them, and then we get that final score. But just average 46 yards a kick, no returns, 46 net every time you punt. I mean, early in the game, then we get the Cole Spear gets the block on the punt, and just tremendous kicking game, and that's going to help us here in the playoffs. So that's enough about that game from my perspective, but just so proud of their staff, of the players, the way they've bought into what in today's society. If anybody embellishes and looks like a team to me going in, and this is no homer, we look like a collective team right now that really knows what its identity is. And going forward, if I'm around the country with another program, one team I don't want in the draw is the Georgia Bulldogs.
Coach, I love seeing reactions that teammates had when a Cole Spear makes a play like that. What does it do for team morale and sideline and just everything with the team when a player like Cole Spear that's been here for a long time makes that play on that stage?
Well, if you go back to like 2 years ago down at Florida, when the first time Peanut ever touched the ball, he ran a touchdown on a jet sweep. And, the players know what the guys do in practice and how they have to assume a role and play the other team's scout team and all that. But players respect, the fact that these guys pay the price every day. And they're just so happy to see them, like 2 weeks ago when that kid got that interception against Charlotte in the end zone. I mean, kids love to see guys have success. And you see it in basketball when they put in a third group sometime and then a guy makes a shot and everybody on the bench jumps up, because these guys have to really pay the price in practice and help our team get better. So it's definitely good for team morale. And I'm a great believer, regardless of what vocation you're in or what you're involved in, morale is such a key ingredient to success. If you're worried about what your uniforms look like, or what you're eating, what kind of equipment you got on, all that stuff, and griping about little stuff like that, it's hard to have it. But Kirby creates a morale base around here that really is inducive to winning. And I think that's so critical. And he's getting a lot of play around the country. People are talking about it because they come and see it. And it's not just August to September to January. It's year round. I mean, the hammer is down in that building. There is no let up. Like right this week, I promise you, they're looking at every good player in the country that might be getting in the portal. I mean, they're checking them out, and they got a plan for practice and recovery and all that. And he knows how to plan his work and work his plan.
Very true. I was along that same line of the connection these guys have. it's really easy to talk about, oh, these guys are brothers, they play for each other. But Coach, you've been around teams where you have cliques on the team. The defensive guys here, the defensive linemen, the defensive backs are together, the wide receivers hang out, but they don't like these two other wide receivers. It's easy to have a bunch of guys on the same team, but who are not teammates. They're teammates, but not brothers. And in the NIL era, in the portal era, I thought that you'd have basically a bunch of mercenaries. But as Dayne pointed out, the way these guys just went ham over Cole Speer, they also did the same thing over Rod Robinson. And when Rod Robinson got that touchdown, I don't think there was – I mean, everybody in the Georgia universe was happy. All the Georgia fans were happy. But his teammates were ecstatic. And you could see that the way they celebrated for Rod Robinson. I just want to get your thoughts on everything Rod's been through and how much that touchdown meant to him.
Well, I've been a big fan of his ever since I watched him the first day of practice, but he just had an inordinate amount of problems with his legs. And he's worked every time he gets close to getting right, then somebody else is already playing more, and it's hard to play a lot of backs. I mean, he's just very hard. I mean, I can't figure out why Bowens didn't play much the other day, but maybe he was hurt, but that's not my call. But the reality is you're going to have some guys that aren't playing that really could be playing, and that's why you lose people to the portal. We're going to lose some guys that really love Georgia and want to stay, but you can't blame them for wanting to play. I mean, that's why you involved in sports, and that's what I can't understand. And I'm not going to bag on Notre Dame any more than saying it's just hard for me to believe that those kids wouldn't want to play together one more time, regardless if somebody took your toys away and you had to go home and you can't play. But you lost to Miami. That's the reality. And they've been lucky to be up that high all year long. I mean, they haven't beaten anybody, sure, Southern Cal and all that. And I think Notre Dame's a good team, but to say they're not going to play in a bowl game is just so chicken shit to me. I mean, I mean, we had it taken away from us. We thought we were playing in a national championship game in the Orange Bowl when I was a senior, but we lost to Clemson in the last game, and we were just a lowly ACC team, so it knocked us out, and we didn't even know if we were going to even get to play in a bowl game. And for that to be my last game in college and be around those 17 seniors that we've been together for 4 and 5 years and know that last game was a taste in our mouth, but we got that opportunity to play one more time together, and it's been a lifelong experience for me. Of course, it's been better because we did beat Georgia since I ended up coming down here. But the idea is you got that one, and that's no hokey dokey thing. I mean, it's just reality. Yeah. There's nothing better than a team victory. You go in those locker rooms after a big victory like that, and whether it's a national championship or the state championship or region or whatever it is, it's just kind of a bond that you got that you're trying to get to that finish line. And to me, that's what's tough about these coaches leaving the program that are involved in some championship situations. That it's not for me to be pro or con on that, but it's hard to believe you're not going to finish the drill.
I'll ask you a little bit more about that game real quick, but I do want to touch on the Notre Dame stuff that popped up, because somebody told me this morning, I like how Clark Lee at Vanderbilt addressed it. He's like, yeah, it sucks that we're not in the playoffs, but we had our chances and we lost. And they did lose to 2 ranked teams. They also beat 4 ranked teams, and all the ranked teams they beat were in the top 20, whereas Notre Dame beat 2 ranked teams who were like 20 and 22, Pitt and USC. And a lot of people are saying, well, Notre Dame had false hope because they were ranked higher. And I'm like, well, they shouldn't have been, and Clark Lee, I know he's disappointed. This is his Diego Pavia year. He's pissed off. I'm sure he probably threw some things when they didn't get in, but he knows that they lost. And I thought he handled it with grace. And the Notre Dame guys, somebody made the point, the Notre Dame players didn't know that was their last game. They figured they're in the playoffs, or at least they're going to a bowl. Now, all of a sudden, you had your last game. The Notre Dame band, the Notre Dame cheerleaders, the Notre Dame parents, nobody realized that was their last game. And I think we saw Sark talking about a disservice to college football if Texas doesn't get in. I think you talk about a disservice. It's a disservice to, like you said, the seniors. And to me, even if you put Kirby Smart or Clark Lee in the shittiest of bowls, the worst bowl possible, they're going to take all those bowl practices to get ready for next year. So
yeah, that's really good points, Roddy, and I think you nailed it there. I watched Clark on TV yesterday, and I was really impressed with the fact that they tried to bait him and say stuff, and he said he just told his team, said we had our chances and we didn't do it. We lost 2 games that if we'd have won either one of them, the one against Texas and the one against Alabama, we'd have been in there. But we deserve what we get based on what happened, and that's, to me, if there's ever been anybody exemplify that, because we got screwed, and you've said it about 1,000 times now, but I'm not going to say it again. And the fact that we went from 1 to 6, but we didn't sit around and lick our wounds and all that. Kirby got his team together and said, we're going to make the best of it. And we're going to go down there and practice and get better. And you got guys like Kamari Lassiter, who has everything to lose, nothing to gain. He's going to be a first-round draft choice, but he wants to play with his brothers one more time. It was eating at him that he couldn't play. And so he said, piss on it. I'm going to play. If I get hurt, I get hurt. But to me, that's what it's all about. I mean, and maybe poor judgment too, because realistically, you probably shouldn't play when you're in a situation like that, because you got a lot more to lose. But to me, that really shows you what it's all about, how much these guys like being around each other, and that the other guys count on them. And that's one of the things about an off-season program that I always felt was so good. You find out a lot about guys that want to go that extra mile or do what they're supposed to do or slack off. Because if they're going to slack off, then they're going to do it in the game. And that's where you build that pride. And the people that are on our show and listen to us know that we're not talking about something that's not realistic here. I mean, you got to build that pride. And you win a lot of games because – if there's ever been a team that exemplified the ability to believe in itself, look at the season all the games we won in the clutch, and only game we lost almost won it because we had the ability to perform and make the plays necessary to win the game and eliminate the ones to lose the game. And to me, that's tremendous belief in your program and your coaching staff. And I want to do one other thing, give some kudos to our coaching staff, because people in today's society you get so criticized, and because you got a lot of ways to do it. I mean, social media, podcasts. Some of these guys have got film reviews that they know a lot about football and they do a good job. But I'd like to ask them a couple questions once in a while if they really know what that coverage was. And do you know that Georgia's playing 2 invert now? How many times have you seen 2 invert? Which maybe they know what it is. I don't know, but I hadn't heard anybody talk about that. But I'm going to get away from that because it just kind of kills me. Some of these guys are Socrates of football. But let's get back to this one point. I really think that Stacey Searles, when you look at all the things that happened to our offensive line, and the injuries that we incurred, and the ability to plug in 2 freshmen. Of course, they're very talented, Glover and the big boy. I mean, just unbelievable talent, and also move people around like he did, and get. And when you think about the last guy, I mean, he had tightrope surgery in August, and and all of a sudden Tolliver comes in there. Does really better than average job against a good nose guard and that big kid from Alabama. But just the way to plug and place all year long, never had any really stability. But when we were really good and had everybody, like against Texas, it was a machine. And maybe we won't have probably Bobo for the tournament, but what a job he did. And you look at the receivers, Coley, all the guys that got hurt, losing Colby Young, losing Taylor, who really is a very talented guy, bringing the receivers along like they did, and then Hartley, and then, of course, Bobo and the running backs. And then defensively, Schumann didn't have the players that they normally have as far as just the unbelievable first-round guys, although I think maybe Miller and CJ might go. But just the way our defense evolved all year, and T-Rob and Dante and in our, when you look at Trey Scott year after year, the way he brings them along, and then our outside backers the way that guy coached them, Shadira, and then special teams. Come on, Kurt Benedict.
My God,
he's there and he's got some good helpers. Javier and he's got some good guys helping him. But look at the managers. I mean, all the guys, the trainers. We got Connor and Ryan, 2 new trainers replacing Ron with all the injuries we had, and then our equipment guys and everybody. It's just a good team effort over there.
So the coaches obviously
also
have the connection.
Mark Robinson and Anna. I mean, what a great job they do on getting all these things together as the trips, and just Austin Chambers just keeping up with those kids going to class. I mean, there's so many people over there that you don't hear about, but unbelievable.
Yeah, big fan of Austin here. Love that guy. So you've never seen a guy with a bigger smile. Kirby Smart last year said that this was the best staff he'd ever had, and stuff like, people hate stuff like that. And just because if anything happens wrong, they use it against you. And I guess maybe week 4, week 5, especially after that Ole Miss game, I'm like, just fire the entire defensive lot of them. I mean, when Ole Miss was going off, just a knee-jerk reaction. And Kirby's like, no, hey, look, we're going to get better. We're going to get good. And when they beat Ole Miss, they beat Texas. There are a couple times that Kirby said, look, that was a culture win. And I know I'm kind of harping on this culture and connectivity, but it's just, to me, that was the most surprising thing of the year. The fact that these guys are so dedicated for playing for each other. If you talk to anybody about Zachariah Branch, he and his brother come in here from California. He's paid well. A lot of teams wanted him, but that would be almost a perfect situation where you have a kind of a mercenary guy. Colby Young winds up being one of your top leaders on offense, even before and after he gets hurt. Again, a transfer. London Humphreys, the block that London Humphreys threw on that kickout duo wrap was a thing of beauty. Nate Frazier goes in, game's over.
I can't believe that we brought our Z that far across the formation and it worked. I mean, it's just you shouldn't be able to get that far, but they delayed the run just enough where it timed it up. And Humphreys, great job. He's done that all year. And then, can't say enough. I don't know if I mentioned Mike, but he's up for hopefully in the top 5 for the Broyles Award. But just the way he brought. And if you ever seen a yo-yo effect of our quarterback, after the first 2 games, people didn't think he could play dead in a Western movie. And then all of a sudden, boy, he's really up for the Heisman. Then he doesn't do much against Tech, and wow, he's terrible. And then against in the championship game, he has a C+ performance. So, but I promise you, when I say that, I say it I thought it was a freaking plus performance because he hung it out there. I mean, you could tell he was gutting it out on those runs, and the Alabama defensive coordinator was trying to jack around with him and all these looks and all, and trying to guess our plays because we were holding the formation and everything a lot by huddling up, which really caused them some problems. I thought that was brilliant by Mike to stay in the huddle and come out late so they couldn't really try to jack around showing us one thing and mixing it up. And the tactical things that we did in that game, from Schumann with where he timed up the blitzes to running some different coverages to really playing more 3 deep than I've ever seen Georgia play, keeping the ball in front of us and make the guy beat you. And we talked about it on the watch along show that when you've got a different back in there that you're not used to, and they were playing with their third back, just the little things about where he's going to be on a dump off. They had a couple of dump offs that were missed times. They could have maybe made a first down for them. They were either thrown in the dirt or thrown behind them. And then the blitzes where the guy engaged, but he really wasn't able to stop the pressure. But we got some monumental pressure on that guy. I mean, monumental. And it's just, he had one of those pennies from heaven games. You don't get 7 out of 7 third downs against Georgia between the edges. in the first half. And the other thing that I mentioned on the watch along that I forgot to mention here was how much more possession time we had in this game, contrary to the other game. It was like 36 minutes to 30. I mean, it was really, really off kilter there. It's only 60 minutes. So, I mean, I don't know how much it was, but it was bad the first time. And this time we were the exact opposite. So you look at turnovers, you look at everything involved. We field position, and I think Dayne he talked about it on the watch along. The average field position where we started compared to them, they were behind the 20 average for the whole game, and we had a lot of possessions on their side of the 50. And boy, I tell you, I used to have those things on Friday night where we talk about team goals and the challenge sheet. And boy, when you're getting that ball on the other side of the 50, as a offensive play caller, you're licking your chops.
Well, Coach, with quarterback play and what you say about Gunnar Stockton, there's not much great quarterback play in football right now at all levels. Look at the Indianapolis Colts have a terrible injury with Daniel Jones. He ruptures his Achilles. They're calling him Phillip Rivers, 44 years old, been in retirement, to take a workout there. They need more good quarterback play in the NFL, in college, and everywhere. So when you see Gunnar Stockton lead a team that way, it's very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, Phillip, I remember we had that last one of the last camps I had here. We had Phillip Rivers in here, and he looked good. I mean, he really looked good. But we also had DJ Shockley and David Green and some other guys, and locally, and I thought he was going to go to Auburn, and then Auburn wanted him to play tight end, and so I talked to Chuck Amato, who's played with me at NC State, and worked out a deal. And Phillip had a great career. I mean, he has a different motion. A lot of these quarterback gurus will say, "Hey, Phillip Rivers, he can't throw because he throws 3 quarters." I mean, listen now, I'm telling you, look at the platforms, all the different ways that Stafford throws. He throws the pure pass, but you watch him the other day, 45 points he scored. He can throw the ball. I really think he can throw it between his legs if he had to, like Eddie Feiner used to do on that fast pitch softball pitch from second base and throw it between his legs. But to me, I'm not worried about where you launch the ball. It's, where, how you can get set and what all you can do. And there's no strict criteria for what you're supposed to do exactly. Everybody's got a little bit. But Phillip Rivers is a great example of that. And I wouldn't be surprised. He's just, he's probably getting tired of being around. He's got like 11 or 12 kids now. He probably needs to get out of the house a little while. How many kids has he got now? Can you look that up, Dayne?
It's a lot, but I'll get the full number.
It's double digits now, I promise you. And his wife probably glad to see him go out there too.
Yeah, you go on, husband. Take off for a minute. Coach, I got a lot more stuff I want to talk to you about in the interim there while Dayne looks that up. But first, I need to talk about our friends over at Darden's Delights, because it is December 9th. Now is the time to get your order in for the Holy Moly peanut butter pie, the peanut butter cup pie. Again, I had this, and everybody knows that I love my key lime pies. I'm a key lime pie connoisseur. I could eat an entire one at a sitting. I've had them all over the place. I've had people ship them to me. I've had people homemade. I've had the ones from Darden's Delights, and it is a phenomenal key lime pie. But I might be changing my tempo here, my mind, my moniker, if you will, and say that peanut butter cup pie is maybe the best pie I've ever had. So go ahead and order it. It comes frozen. They ship it directly to your house or to your work. We had a gentleman who we heard about Darden's Delights on their show, wound up trying to figure out what am I going to get for all my coworkers. Got everybody a pie. That's the great thing. They're not that expensive. Shipping is very reasonable. Go ahead and have them shipped directly to your coworkers. If you got to get gifts for corporate events, this is a way to do it. I sent one to just a friend of ours, a friend of the show, who's always been very kind to us. He actually created a birthday cake for Coach one day and brought it to the restaurant where we were doing the show. And I'm like, that guy brought us a sweet, so let me send him one. So I sent him one of the fudge pies. Check out Darden's Delights. It's a company founded by a couple of Georgia grads whose daughter is now at UGA, and their other daughter, Darden. She is a fantastic young lady, And some of the proceeds of these pies go to help girls like her who have developmental disabilities, like my nephew. So check out Darden's Delights. Let them know that you heard about them on UGA Sports, and get your orders in now, because if you wait late, I mean, they can only cook so many. So get cracking, get them ordered in now. Also, I want to mention our friends over at Athens Ford, huge sponsors of our show. It's the fantastic time to go get a vehicle right now in December. You can do it for the tax write-off if you're getting one of the really big ones, what is it, like 6,000 pounds or something like that. But they're $8,000 off the Broncos, $8,000 off the Ford Explorer. There's just Ford Escapes, Ford F-150s, F-250s. The entire gamut of Ford vehicles, the 2025s, are priced to get out of there. And trust me, these guys have a lot of them. They sell a ton of vehicles, but they still have a lot of them in stock. So swing by Athens Ford. Hey, you don't even have to go up there. Just look at them online, and you'll get to look at that vehicle, like 40 different pictures plus a walk around video. So check out Athens Ford and get your next vehicle there before the end of the new year.
Philip Rivers has 10 children and 1 grandchild.
Good Lord.
All right, Philip.
We can get the questions from UGAsports.com. And after that, Coach, I may get into a little college football playoff bracket with you there. But from McKinney Dog, 1138.
Let me just give you this one joke while you're talking about that. This guy, talking about a lot of kids, this guy was in the delivery, waiting for his wife to have a baby, and he was out there and waiting to see, and it's his first baby, and this other guy, he said, "How many kids you got?" And he said, 4. He said, "This will be my 5th." He said, "Wow." And so they were just shooting the breeze and everything. So he said, "Hey, I got the new guy said, I got a question." Said, "How long after your wife has the baby before you can have sexual relations?" And the older guy said, "Well, it depends." He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, it depends whether she's in a ward or a private room." All right, let's go.
From McKinney Dog, 1138. Coach, Georgia's got a little time before the Sugar Bowl and doesn't even know the opponent yet. From a head coach perspective, what is priority number 1 in a stretch like this? Rest, recruiting, development, or scheme?
Well, that's an all-encompassing question. I could say just about anything. Well, you want to certainly get the recovery and the rest of your team, because it's been a long haul. And we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. That game there was the half point of the season, because realistically we could have 3 games here. Hopefully we can, but about 3 weeks before our first one. So that would be 6 more weeks of practice after, from now on. So it's a long, tedious process, but the number one thing between now and say maybe the end of next week would be just checking the portal and knowing who we're going to go after and who we're going to lose, because we're going to lose some players. We're definitely going to lose some guys. I mean, we've talked about that. So we'll see what happens on that. But I think it's just very good question. But you got to wear a lot of hats. But in talking to our staff and talking to some of our people over there yesterday, it's definitely a lot more relaxed. It's not. I mean, we got the hammer down. Don't get me wrong, but it's a lot more relaxed than last year, because we were dealing with not only some of the things that you just mentioned, but we had official visits. We had guys in the portal that were coming here now, looking to come. Like, I remember standing out there with Branch and Fernando Mendoza, and one of the hardest things I had to do helping Roddy and you was not tell him that Fernando Mendoza was here.
Yeah, thanks for that. I appreciate it.
That would have been a real breach of confidence on.
I know.
I couldn't really say that, and
I know.
I hope the fans understand that. But I was talking to Fernando about the coverages and just sitting over there, and Branch was saying, "Hey, yeah, we can come in here and work good together." And I felt good about Branch, and I felt pretty good about Mendoza too. But once he realized that Gunner's situation and Gunner's relationship with Coach Bobo and the family, I think maybe that kind of tilted it. But happy for Fernando. He's done a great job out there. I mean, unbelievable.
So good.
And he's a very genuine kid. His dad's a emergency room physician, and he was very nice. But I've never seen a guy that was so geared into. I mean, he was getting the heck recruited out of him. I mean, he had people calling him, texting him the whole practice. I said, "Why don't you shut that phone down? You're in Georgia, man. You're where you need to be." He said, "Well, I got to keep my options open." His old man
working him.
His old man was working it now. He was doing it, and so I tried to get him off kilter a little bit, but his old man liked it here. I mean, his father. I shouldn't call him that, but getting back to it, but we were dealing with that phase, and we don't have to now. You know what I mean? You don't have to. You don't have to worry about who you're going to take and who you're not, because we won't know that until, after the first of the year. But we'll have a pretty good idea because Kirby's meeting with these guys, and there's some people that maybe need to leave on their own without us really telling them. They see the handwriting on the wall, so we'll see some of that too. But definitely a good question, but there's going to be a lot of everything. And then you got the academics. Right now you got and nobody talks about that anymore, but academics are huge. I mean, you got to go to school, but I know this. Some people are making a lot of money around the country taking tests for people. I mean, these kids are making money, and they're using that money in a lot of different ways. I don't know which ones exactly are doing it more than the others, but there's more than AI out there for some of these student athletes, and not only student athletes, but rich people in general. I mean, all these online classes and stuff. You don't know what everybody's doing.
Well, and when you hear people say, "Oh, they don't do class or school anymore," Coach, Thursday before the SEC championship, I'm walking to the building over here at Grady College. I see a defensive starter getting ready to take a final somewhere else in the building, and
they got it tough. I mean, certainly they make a lot of money and all, but you don't make the grades, you don't play. And Kirby's got a rule too. I mean, you miss class and do stuff like that, that's almost like getting a penalty in practice in a game. I mean, you can't miss classes here. And
they will.
And the general student body, some of these kids don't have anybody checking on them, but our kids do a good job of attending class.
They do. Georgia helps them get around the classes. They have people that go by the classes, check and take attendance, make sure they're there. One of the things that's used against Georgia in recruiting is how hard it is at the University of Georgia. I mean, it is tough to get into this school, and we don't have those Jim Herrick Jr. classes anymore, which is like how many points is a three-point shot in basketball. There's no, basket weaving courses here anymore because the school is so damn hard now.
Yeah, it is, but it's hard to get in too. But talking about classes, they got an app now that these kids around the country, not necessarily athletes, that they can tell you if you're in class or not. Yeah, so if you check in, if you're not there, it comes right back to the, whether it's athletic or whatever it might be. Some of these fraternities got people checking on their kids going. So it's.
I remember reporting that I think it was during the Trey Matthews era. It might have been Trey, might have been somebody else. But I'm like, when I told people what's coming, I'm like, hey, look for this guy to miss the first half. And people are like, what do you mean? Is he injured? I'm like, he's just going to miss the first half. He's being punished. I'm like, he's just going to miss the first half. The kid missed a couple classes, and they're like, hey, look, I know you're a starter, but your punishment is to miss the first half. And then after the game, somebody asked him, why wasn't that out there? He's like, I had a little something, a little soreness or something. I'm like, yeah, your ass was sore because you got it tore up by the coach. So
you can't look the other kids in the eye if you let that go by, though. I mean, you got to do it for everybody. I remember when I was in school, our defensive line coach told me he'd give me $5 a week, which is a lot of money, if I would go by and wake up Leland Hughes every morning and make sure he went to class. And Leland's from Seneca, South Carolina. He's a good defensive lineman, but he was lazy. Sometimes I'd get him up and then I would leave, and he would go back to bed before I as soon as I would leave. And Coach Brubaker said, I'm not giving you any money, Leland. I said, I woke him up, Coach. He said, well, you need to wake his ass up and walk him over there. I said, well, if you're going to do that, I need 10.
We're renegotiating always.
Yeah, so I got $10 a week to get Leland over there, and his brother was a great receiver for us here, very good. And then his wife actually worked for one of our best benefactors there in Charlotte. Really does a lot of good stuff for us.
Question from Billy Zane. Has Georgia just gotten better at pressuring the quarterback as the season gone on, or has Georgia changed the pressure packages and scheme?
I think a little bit of both, Billy. I think the fact that maybe early on we didn't know some of the ability of some of our guys, and we were hoping they could maybe imitate what's been good to us in the past. But I think maybe changing some of the angles and some of the alignment, where if a guy's not that great on a bull rush, maybe giving a little bit better angle by being outside or inside. As far as the depth of our we talked about that. Sometimes you have an assignment. I'm just going to get a little technical here, and you guys can grade me. Maybe I'll make better than a C+ on this. But the alignment is one thing, but then also whatever the defense is in can help you on your alignment. There might be a key to the way the defense can get by watching the offense alignment. Let's say this guy taking a little bigger split, so maybe you'll get your alignment a little bit different based on the offensive formation. So I think certainly Schumann's great at that, picking out little keys like that. And then I think the other thing is our coverage has gotten better to allow us to maybe use a little bit more pressure where we can play more man coverage.
All right.
I wanted to talk real quick or add on to that, because when we were at breakfast the other day, you mentioned how in this rematch against Alabama, Georgia was better in its blitzes. And you mentioned, not exactly had their cadence down, but they had the timing of the blitz. And my first thought was, of course, hey, the minute the ball snapped, you're trying to get there as fast as possible. So, and I get there's the delayed blitzes and such like that. You'll see it off the edge, and the twists and stunts that they run. But I didn't realize that the timing was so much more effective this time. So if you would, real quick, we'll get to the next
getting back to that, the offense is going to base their call by estimating the defensive intent. What can they do from how they line up? For instance, if a safety's back in a too deep shell, more than likely on his first step, if he doesn't come forward, then he's going to play either too deep or go back to the middle. But if his alignment is 4 across the board equal to the corners, then more than likely they're going to play some kind of man coverage or 3 deep, because his alignment's a lot shallower. So right. I think the defense needs to disguise that, though. So there's a fine line between disguise and also getting to your – you don't want to be so funky that you're disguising stuff that you can't get your
man in place.
It's like I used to tell the quarterback, that cornerback coach is going to tell that guy all week, hey, we're going to disguise this coverage. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And we're going to show him this. We're going to do that. But when the band starts playing and his ass gets tight, he's going to line up like he's going to line up, and you're going to read him, because he's not going to be near as worried about disguise as he is covering that good guy. So, but linebackers maybe can do that a little better. And then so you'll see our linebackers at the last second walk up to the edge or walk up in the A gap, and then sometimes they'll bail back and sometimes they'll come. But the fine line is they're walking up at the last second where you can time it up to maybe beat that guard center area when they're trying to figure out who they're going to block. When there's 6 people on the line and there's only 5 protectors, which one are they going to let go? Are they going to let the edge guy go? Or are they going to let the A-gap guy go? Or you know what I'm saying? So the timing is so relevant, because if you're not up there enough to make them make that move, they can take care of it and then have time to redirect and pick up the guy that's coming late. See what I mean? Yeah. So, and fortunately for me, in discussing some things over there with our coaches, the first game, they Mickey Moused around with their formation calls and by jumping around like they did. And if you look at the tape, Ty Simpson was looking over to the sideline up to about 7 or 8 seconds to go on about every call when they weren't going fast, when no huddle, but they were at the line of scrimmage. But he was trying to dictate our tempo on our blitzes by his snap count and the play call. And it worked effectively 7 out of 7 on third down.
He did.
So that combo right there of our disguise, knowing better about how to get to him, effectively helped our pressure, and we got to him good. And there's no question he was affected by it. He was definitely affected by it.
Absolutely.
We have 3 more questions from the dog vent. We'll get to those after this word from our friends at Atlanta Dental Implant. I was going to play the commercial and then realize we had the screen share, so I can just find that and filibuster until we get there because I'm a great producer. Atlanta Dental Implants.
Hi, my name's Tammy, and I have full mouth dental implants. I had some cavities, and then I had some teeth that were missing. It started getting worse, and I knew something needed to be done. Dr. Holcomb made me feel relaxed, and that's so important. I was very surprised when I saw how natural they are. They really look like my other teeth, but better and more of them. The boost of confidence that I have is overwhelming.
I appreciate the folks from Atlanta Dental Implants. They also sponsor our Georgia 321 report. They sponsor this show mainly because Dr. Skylar Holcomb is a huge Georgia fan, and he's a member of the dog vent, has been for many, many years. And trust me, you cannot be in better hands if you need anything from in the dental implant arena. So check out Atlanta Dental Implants. Let them know that you heard about it on UGASports. And
that's a
tremendous. Ask him how about them dogs. I guarantee you he will answer.
Not because he's just a Georgia guy, but that's a tremendous advantage, particularly if you're an older person, if you're getting some kind of implant, to have all in one situation there where you can get and the next time I'm going to have one of those, that's what I'm going to do. I mean, I've got really good teeth for the most part and had very good success with the one implant I had, but it is a process of, because of your structure in your gums and all, older people don't have the ability to sustain an implant. So you got to, it's just a process, and they can do it so much faster than, and I'm really glad that you're showing him because they've got a very vast staff too that can really get things done. And reminds me of that joke about a guy that was going in to get have some dental work done, and the doctor got out a needle. He said, "Oh, don't give me a needle. I'm scared to death of those needles. Don't give me one." And then he pulled out the laughing gas. He said, "Oh, I can't stand that." He's like, "Oh, don't put that. I get claustrophobia." And so pulled out a blue pill and told him to take it. Said, "Give that. Take that. I'll give you something to hold on to."
Oh my God.
All right.
This question from Eddie from Ackworth. Coach, with Rayshawn Dinkins and how far he's come this season, how difficult can it be for a player to step into that spotlight SEC championship the way that he did?
Well, I can just tell you, I've been on his train since the first practice that I was able to go to. I was just getting out of the hospital, and I didn't get to see much of 2 a days, or well, not the early camp, but I walked away from that first day, and the first thing that I sent Kirby and Bobo and was, "Hey, who is 63 and who?" And then I knew about the big guy, the big tackle already, Juan Gaston, and also 27, and also Kelly, the corner. I said those guys just stood out to me, and I mentioned that to Roddy right away about Dinkins, and they've been using him in practice a lot, I know, but boy, he's just a killer. I mean, not only being where he's supposed to be, but just knock people around, kind of like Bullard, and I like that. And I think the one thing Kirby said, which I really agree with, some of these guys are, even though they're freshmen, are like sophomores. They've been practicing here since January. I don't know if Dinkins came in the summer or when, but that's a lot of snaps, and a lot of walkthroughs and all that. And kudos to T-Rob for the way he's brought him along, and the guy's ready to go. I mean, that when you think about our secondary next year compared to what it was this year with the depth, and I'm worried about the portal and everything, but Robinson right now is playing with tremendous confidence, and DeMello is making a lot of plays. He just got to mature, and that was not smart getting that penalty. But and then you got Bolden, and you got Guerrero back. And then Kelly coming along, and Dinkins. Just a really good looking group.
And I have to apologize to Ja'Cory Thomas. I've been riding his ass all year, and he led the team in tackles Saturday. He had a hell of a game.
He's solid, though. I mean, he when we don't play a lot of man coverage, every defensive back can't do everything. There's no question, but he's going to do what he's supposed to, and he's just like Colt Spear. I mean, he's going to give you his best for Georgia, and everybody was fired up because he's able to make that play because they know how much he's put into the program. And he's told me several times when I'm over how much it means for him to be a Georgia Bulldog. I mean, I really like that.
He's a good kid.
This question from Mayberry Dog says, Coach Donnan, I love when Georgia goes old school and gets in the I formation. And I actually think it fits Gunner pretty well, not to mention who knows the I formation better than Mike Bobo. With the personnel that Georgia has, why wouldn't Georgia shift to an I formation and run it that way with short yardage and red zone with today's defenses not being built to stop that? It says, I miss seeing the I formation, and I think offenses over the last several years have been a little cookie cutter. Hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. Go Dogs.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the other day, there's several times we used the I with that personnel in, certainly on the goal line, and we ran that little play where Robertson came back out of the weak flat. And then when we went for it on fourth down and we ran 57 power and, I wing right went 57 power off to the left and made the first down about 3 or 4 yards with Robinson leading up in there and the guard pulling. So we've got that package. We've used the toss sweep some, and we've used some other things out of it. And just got a lot of different ways to attack people. But certainly that's another way to do it.
From Bulldog.
I like that they have so many different options they can put in that I formation because you got the Rod Robinson, but Lawson Lucky back there is an absolute danger.
Right. He can come out and catch the ball too. So
exactly.
And we got a lot out of 13 the other day. I mean, we lined up with 3 tight ends there and ran that play for a touchdown, but we also got a power play to the right off of it for about 8 yards too, where all of a sudden you got those 3 guys blocking there. You got 10, 7, and 4, and then you got the left guard pulling around, looking up in the what we call the stovepipe, going down there looking for any kind of leakage. And Frazier made about 8 yards on that. I promise you, people don't want to see us line up in 2 tight ends, 1 back, and run the gut either way, inside zone. I mean, with those big old boys up front, that's hard to stop.
We should mention that former Georgia tight end Pierce Spurlin entered the transfer portal, which is an incredible news because he did have to take a medical disqualification at Georgia and is now back right and qualified to play football, according to his doctors from his statement. And that's great news because I think Pierce Spurlin had a pretty bright future at Georgia, and for that to be derailed and get back on the field somewhere else, Coach, I know you had to be happy to hear it.
I'm happy for Pierce because he's a player. He's a little bit slender for a tight end, but he's getting some weight on him. Then he had that heart condition. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but if he's been cleared, I mean, Javar's the guy that's the coach at
Jarvis Jones
that was not cleared at Southern Cal, but was cleared here, and look what he's able to do. So that's good. Every kid likes to play. If you can play, and he realizes the deck is stacked against him here with the guys we got on our board at tight end. And all of a sudden that Barbour can play in the bowl games and his playoff games are all bowls, but that's another added issue deal. And I think I might have mentioned that wrong. I think maybe 23 was in, Riddell was in when we had that 13 personnel that one time, and he did a good job blocking too.
Final question from the Dog Vent for this episode of UGA Sports Live. Who are your mouth-watering players on this team right now as we head into the playoffs, and then how does Georgia match up in that playoff field? That's from Bulldog Ice.
It's a situation here like not anybody just overwhelming, but I really think that Kristen Miller is playing at a level right now that's hard to block him and he's getting some help with McLeod and Griffin and those other guys inside. So he makes my mouth water because he can knock the pile back. And then offensive line as a whole, just to know it's really gratifying calling plays that you can line up and put them on the Burma Road. We said, you know what that Burma Road's like. I mean, you're going down there and you got to take care of business, and I think we can do that. But some guys I just think are really clutch right now were Zachariah and Bell. Man, just really tough. And I think our tight ends down the stretch will be really good. And then we got
Thorson. You talked about Thorson. It's Thorson.
I've said all I could about Thorson, and I need to say something about our place kicker too. I mean, not many teams have a dynamic duo like that. And then, of course, our quarterback just had a fantastic year, and so happy for him, and just epitomizes what it's like to be a Georgia Bulldog. And I saw that little special he did with Marty when he was riding in the truck with his grandpa's truck, and he was mentioning he didn't think any of the players on the team could drive that 4 on the floor. Probably couldn't, but Gunner's the real deal. And fortunately for us, we've had him, and he's played tremendous football for us. But I would say the most mouth-watering person involved in the program for me is Kirby Smart, because he's just such a tremendous coach, but just has a great feel for what needs to be done, when to pull the plug, when to push the buttons, what to do to motivate the team, whatever it takes. He's just been fantastic. And you think about the dominance that he's had in today's college football, and just between a gnat's ass between winning several mores. Sometimes you win one we not expected to, and this might be the year for us.
The only guy I would add to that list is, or maybe two, is I thought, the CJ Allens of the world. He has been so reliable.
Yeah, that whole linebacker room, right?
Yeah, I mean, lights out. And
can you believe the way number 9 runs? Lord.
Held 9 and 10. You saw Zayden Walker.
Oh yeah, 10.
Track Ty Simpson down. Like
that freshman class. I mean, when you look at Dinkins, Kelly, Griffin, Williams, I mean, come on. And then Taylor. But I got one more joke for you because I don't want to lose them here. But this guy's driving, weaving around the road, and this policeman pulls him over, and he said, "Sir, have you been drinking?" He said, "Well, a little bit." He said, "Well, I need to give you a sobriety test." He said, "Okay." He said, "I want you to say the alphabet starting with M." He said, "Malphabet."
Alphabet.
All right, Dane, that's not bad though, is it?
That's a good one. I like that one.
That's what you can tell your kids. I love it. Well, you can't tell them about drinking and driving. Oh my God. I remember they got pulled over, went to the movies, and left downtown Athens back when there's a movie theater down there, and was driving home, got pulled over. The guy's like, "You don't have your lights on. You've been drinking?" I'm like, "No." He's like, say the alphabet, like he said, starting with M. And I'm like, A, B, C, D. You can't just start in the middle. You have to do the song. It's impossible. So I'm like, give me a second. Alphabet. Damn it.
Hey, one of the few times I've ever been pulled over, and it was just for speeding. I was the first year when the changeover to Coach Rick, Mary and I went down to the beach that week, and we were coming back this Saturday. They were playing, I think they're playing New Mexico State, and it was, I don't know, like a 4 o'clock kickoff or something like that. It's like 11 o'clock in the morning. We're coming back from Hilton Head, riding through Washington Wilkes over there, and 45 mile an hour deal, and I was going like 55.
Barrett County.
This guy pulls me over, and he's, "Hey, you're Coach Donnan." And I said, "Yeah." And I'm thinking I'm gonna try to do some talking. And he said, "Hey, going a little fast here." He said, "I guess you're on the way to the game." And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, you need to get there, Coach. I need you over there." So I think he thought I was going to coach the damn game. So I said, "Yeah, I'm getting ready to get over there." So
I'm late. That's awesome.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
All right, folks. We'll see you next week. Everybody have a fantastic couple days, and we'll see you then.